Hello, people. We are back. A2TP Podcast, episode 231. And we are back. It's your boy, International Walk.
It's your girl, Tosh, the co-host with the mostest.
Gotta get international again. Like, what the fuck?
I was going to say, are you going to lose your title?
Yeah, I gotta get international again. But it's your boy, International Walk, with my beautiful co-host. The mostest. Yeah. Let's call her the mostest.
We already said that, so you tripped me up.
And we back for another episode of us. Y'all know the platforms: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. Smitty over here got to do more updating. If y'all been on those places and seen old shit, then, blame her. That's not
YouTube is the most up to date, but I got y'all on the other ones.
Yeah. Let's get right to it. How are you?
I'm good. Mentally, I'm a 9, and not that anything is wrong per se, but like him, I need some time off. We'll get to work, but work is good, but still, I need some time off. Like, work is good and busy, but I need some time off. So I'm a 9. And finances an 8, always an 8. Thank God. We made some, moves and plans and arrangements this week. So, again, thank God for his blessings. And then work is a 9. It's great. It's very busy. Yeah, it's very busy. That's just that. You said I work too much?
Huh?
I don't work too much.
Who said that?
Because I don't have a 9 to 5, like a standard 8-hour day.
Are you getting defensive?
No, I'm asking, is that why you say that?
No. It's not why I say that, because you don't have a traditional job.
Why do you say that?
Because you do. Yeah, that's just it. That's the gist of it. We're going into, that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay. And then physically I'm a 9. I feel good, except my knees are hurting. Like, it is bothering me, because this is not like workout hurt, like that kind of hurting. It's to be honest, since Memorial Day weekend, when we went to my sister cookout and I was jumping rope, I really feel like they have never fully recovered.
They won't. You jump rope, you're 44 years old, you probably damaged some cartilage or just wore out the ones you had. Like, that shit you're not 24.
And like going to the gym and stuff, my knees never hurt from the gym. Like, my thighs may hurt, depending on what
jumping
muscle,
rope, shaking ass. That's what happens.
Depending on what workouts we're doing, my thighs may hurt, my glutes may hurt, my arms may hurt, my pecs, my calves, but my knees have never hurt like this. And it's bothering. Like, I don't like to feel like I'm old. I ain't old. I'm seasoned, but I'm not old. But going up and down the steps is like,
damn.
I don't like it. So, other than that, I'm grateful, for being healthy otherwise, but I'm a 9. How about you?
Mentally, I feel like a 9. I feel like a 9 mentally. Finances, always an 8. Work is another 9. Just need some time off. It's that time of the year. Weather's breaking. June already in 6.
I know.
Yeah, like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But who knows? We made some plans, and then my birthday, so we probably be doubling down. But that's a good thing. It's what you're supposed to do. What did I say? Work. Yeah. Work was a 9. Yeah, physically I feel like a 10. My body feel good. Been in the gym, working hard. Just positive reinforcement. That's what we need there.
Yeah. Do you think we should retire finances? Because we know it's always going to be the same. Or could we leave that there just as a blessing, just to remind ourselves and others to be a blessing to others?
Well, that's what it's for. That's why it's always 8.
Okay.
I didn't think.
Again, since it's always 8, did we want to always say it? But I'm fine with it. Just for throwing that out there. What's your wows and woes this week?
My woes is that my friend's going through shit at work going through shit at home that he, can't fix, I guess. So yeah, he's just sad, and I don't like to see him sad and shit and wore down and beat down. So that's probably one of my woes. One of my wows is what happened this week.
Married to me for another 7 days.
Well, yeah, just being alive, I guess. Yeah, nothing really spectacular happened other than waking up and breathing, which is probably the most spectacular. Yeah, just breathing, just being here, being 47. I've been thinking about, which is another whole conversation, but like praying to God that I see 50. Like just, you know, it's just weird getting to this age. It's like you want to see 50, 51, you want to be 56, you want to be 57. And it seems like it's tough getting from like 48 to like 55. Like, especially for black men, it just seems like that's a tough area. But praying to God, trying to do everything I can down here, taking care of my body, trying to eat right, trying to get to that point.
I was gonna say, I mean, don't get me wrong. We know anything can happen to anybody, but when we think about some of the things that take black men out, whether it be violence, you're removed from that, like intentionally. Again, we know anything can happen to anybody, anywhere. You take care of your body in terms of, you're exercising, you eat better. So again, you're doing what is within your control. And hopefully you're not allowing that facing your mortality to like weigh heavy on you. A friend, well, I'm not gonna say a friend, my sister's boyfriend, he's like 40, maybe almost 40. I'm not sure. He lost a very close friend. Random car accident, and the service was not too long ago, and my sister was saying, like, in the middle of the night, she like got up and she heard him crying. She was, consoling him, and she was like, she just felt so bad because, not that she didn't think he was sad, but she didn't realize to that extent. And again, it's one of them things you start to think about your own mortality, especially when like friends or somebody close to you, die. And as you start to get older, like in your case, it's not like we know anybody personally, but both of those factors, I think getting older is celebratory, but it's also like, sheesh.
Yeah. You're happy that you passed 19 and 25 and all that shit, and you got a little wisdom, and you feel like you seasoned. Like she said, you got some something to give back, and it just be a shame that it turns out in certain instances people get took so early, and they always be like, that person has so much more to give and all that kind of stuff. And for black men in particular, it just seems like that's a range, like, you get past that, you get 55, 56, it's like, you might see 60, 65. But from 48 to like 55, it's like, god damn, man. So many people like that we know of, even celebrities, like that age range is like shit. Even if they were into like dumb shit like drugs and stuff, but it just seems like that age range is like, you just get tapped out. And I'm not trying to tap out. I'm trying to be here and, spend life with my wife and my daughter and live, smile, laugh, make memories, pray to God, like be grateful, put some positivity into the world, wake up with positive energy every day, fulfill my promise to God. So those are the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
What about you? Wows and woes, ups and downs, stops and goes, blacks and whites.
I'll say my woe, and this isn't directly, my life, but
Chicks and dykes.
It's been, a little woe-ish hearing about, the ICE and immigration issue that's been going on in a political climate. We just had a election in New Jersey, and just hoping that things go one way instead of the other, because it could have an enormous trickle down effect, even potentially on my career. But nevertheless, so that's the political climate has just kind of been like, damn. And I try to detach myself, so you don't feel that heaviness. But you see some stories and it's like, sheesh. But that's been a woe, not necessarily my woe, but a woe. And then my wow has just been, work has been really, really great. I have been placed in positions to, speak and to be on certain platforms and to be in front of certain audiences, and just allow me to flourish and do what I enjoy doing. And I was thinking, I was driving today to a meeting, and no, actually I was coming home from it, and it was awesome. And I was just thinking, people talk about having a seat at the table, and I was thinking about myself. Like, I always ask, my most prayed prayer to God is to order my steps, help me to see what he wants me to do, and not only that, help me to to do it, whether it's discipline, direction, focus, whatever. And I was just thinking, like, people talk about having a seat at the table, but that's the first step. And then the next step is creating a table where you can offer a seat to others. And it was just something in my head that was just thinking, like, what table, like, would I want to have to bring people to offer, other people some of the opportunities that I'm being, the opportunities that I'm being allowed. So, like, me being one person, how do you expand that and grow that to continue, doing the things that we want to do to make a change and all of that. So that has just been my wildest week. I've just really been thinking, like, God, what you got me out here doing? Like, I know I'm working, but it's like bigger than that. And yeah, so that has just been a while for me.
Why do you speak so softly about that? Like, you was talking and your energy was like up, and then you was like, yeah, because that's why it was them.
I guess I was a little introspective.
And it was like, what the fuck? Like, your energy went way down.
Well, my energy was not.
Now it's back up, but I'm just saying, when you were speaking about that particular topic, that's why I said, like, what does it mean to you? Because you kind of toned it down and was talking softly.
I didn't feel like my energy was internally, so it may have come across like that. I guess because it was just more of an introspective moment.
Okay, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, more of an introspective moment. Like, as I'm talking, I'm like picturing thought bubbles above my head because
I'll let you get your shit on, but I'm sitting here like, what the hell's going on? Like, I know she ain't sad about what she's saying.
No, I'm speaking to you about what my thoughts were while driving. So as I'm driving, I'm just telling you, like, what the thought bubbles was above my head. So that's what it was. But definitely not sad, just very introspective. And, one of the moments where it's like, I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm observing, I'm feeling, I'm following, lead me. So there's that.
Since we're sitting here talking about life and how we are in life in present time, is the life you're living a result of choice or fear?
I would say it's definitely choices, because if it was fear, then I wouldn't have the job that I have. Like, I stepped into something that I had never done before. One of the things that I always tell people when they're like as far as on a professional level, some people won't apply for jobs and things because they think, oh, I don't know how to do that. And I always suggest to people, what do you know how to do that could be beneficial in that world, right? Because, yeah, you may not know how to do it, but we have the potential to learn a lot of things. So don't think about what you don't know about that job. Think about what you do know that you can offer to that role that would make you a good asset.
Right.
So for me, stepping out on faith, not having that fear, because I've been denied jobs, but just like not letting that hold me back. So it definitely was a choice. Being with you, that's my professional life. My personal life, a choice, because I could have been afraid and ran away, from our life, from your situation that became my situation. But I could have separated myself from that out of fear. Yeah, so, the peace that I have in my life, even though sometimes the devil tried to disrupt it, it was because of a choice. Like, I could have decided to stay in a place of chaos. I read something that said people thrive in chaos because that's what they're used to, and you have to learn when you've been in chaos, you have to learn how to be in peace. Mm-hmm. So many people don't accept peace in their life because it feels uncomfortable because they've never experienced it. Calm. Yeah, but I made a choice, and that was hard. But I could have the fear of the unknown or the fear of how bad it would feel could have kept me living, under those circumstances and without boundaries. So the choices that I made, so I definitely would say for myself, it has been, the life that I'm living has been through choices.
I would say for me, it's a little bit of both. Probably in germane to what you're saying. I definitely am in the position that I am as far as professionally because of choices that I made, but also fears because of not doing certain things that I probably wasn't comfortable with, or just not going down a road that I know like it's a bumpy road down there. I don't want to do that. And also the stuff that we amass, like this life that we live where we acquire these things, these houses and cars and shit like that, and you get accustomed and responsible to taking care of those things and affording those things. So in that aspect, I would think in choices, but also in my personal life, this is fear and glad that I made the choices, because us going to therapy was like a big choice that we made, but also rooted in fear for me of losing us and not being the same. Like, there's a chance that I may lose my baby. Like, she's everything to me. Like, we have to fix this. And it was at a time where you didn't think it was as bad as I did, so we were on different pages there. But it was like, damn, like I'm feeling away, and she not really understanding how I'm feeling or how deep it is. And the choice for us to go to therapy was huge, but I think it was rooted out of the fear of me losing you and losing us. Things with my daughter, that's a relationship that I've always thought like I never want to, like I don't have a relationship with my mom. My siblings and I don't speak. I speak to 2 siblings, well 3, but that's a different story. But I don't want to throw the relationship with my daughter away. So always having an arm reached out to her and talking to her and just giving her positive energy and positive reinforcement and talking to her has, it's baby steps, but it's like I fear losing that relationship, so I make a choice to engage and be as present as I can be.
So your choices are driven by fear.
Yes. Not all of them, but
a lot of them.
But a lot of them, yeah, most definitely.
I can feel that, because even like going back to us, when I say like the choice to be with you, the fear was not, and you know what? If I'm honest, the fear was more about you, and like I gotta make sure he okay. Like if I'm not with him, mentally, emotionally, physically, how is he gonna be? And that like somebody might think like, oh, you should have put yourself first, blah blah blah. That's neither here nor there. I'm exactly where I want to be, and I made the right choice. But in those moments, even at times where I might have felt like afraid, because the conversation we've had, I thought maybe the situation was never going to change, or I wanted to do other things, and felt like I was held back because of the situation. It was like I can't leave my baby.
One thing about that whole situation, you went through it knowing what was up, but you also went through it for 24 years naive as hell. Like, it was times where I remember how, like, trying to explain to you how serious the situation was, and it just seemed like you never really, like, could grasp on. And in hindsight, it's like, I'm happy that you couldn't grasp on, because maybe you would have been so scared or so fearful that you would have made a decision that, hey, I don't want to be here, or I don't want to come home, or be waiting for you to come home from work, and now you somewhere doing 20 years. That kind of thing where, like, again, I know you knew what was up, but I didn't think that you knew the seriousness of it.
No, I think maybe the first 5 or so years, but then after that, like, the conversations we had, like, I knew. Now, what I can say, there are certain things that...
And I say that not to cut you, I'm sorry to cut you. I say that to say, like, how serious it would be for you, not me. Like, the trouble you could get into, the stuff that almost like your mindset was, let me take care of him, because if he gets into trouble, that's him. He's got to deal with. I mean, I have to deal with it because I'm his fiance or whatever. But not knowing like I could be in trouble.
Oh no, I definitely.
I'm taking a risk here.
I 100% knew of that, and I guess it was probably some repression. Is that the word? Suppression. Suppression, because that could have. I had to focus on making sure you were okay, because I knew if you weren't okay, like, if you go to jail, they looking at me too. So I knew that, but I didn't, I guess, again, just focusing on more of making sure that you were okay. What I will say, it's not that I didn't realize the seriousness of it. There are certain things that my mind never thought about within the situation. Like, my mind didn't always think like yours, but then once you put me on, it was like, okay, a new level of awareness. Like, an example, I was thinking about this the other day when your brother and our sister-in-law, when we used to do things together, we went to New York, and it was like, we went to New York. They had one car, they drove in their car, we had our car, and we was just like looking for it was something very simple, and we were going to get in the car together, and you did not like for people to ride in the car with us. From the outside looking in, somebody could be like, why he being an a-hole? Like, why he don't want nobody in his car? Which they didn't know, and I initially didn't know, it was your way of protecting other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was things like that I was not always aware of, where it was like, nah, I don't want anybody in the car, because God forbid I get pulled over, I'm in trouble. I don't want anybody else in the back seat being subject to that. So that was
putting somebody in a position to lie, say a different name, all this kind of shit.
Yeah, it was protective of you, but also protective of them. And then I also remember with our family when we I was thinking about this, our last trip when we went to the Poconos for a couple times around the New Year, and you and all the young guys was going to ride the 4-wheelers, and I remember you telling me one of our nephews, one, you didn't want to drive and you ended up driving anyway, but then one of our nephews was in the back seat and had a ski mask. Now, mind you, it's the Poconos, it's December, it's cold, so having a ski mask isn't really out of the ordinary. But again, you talking about the Poconos, a bunch of white people, you got a car full of black people with somebody with a ski mask, and it could just look like real suspect. 4 deep in the truck. Yeah,
4 deep in the truck.
It was 5, right?
5 deep in the truck, and we up in fucking upstate Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and it's
where you
like,
get the doggies from.
Like you can't ride in the back seat with me in here with a ski. But again, those are things that I would not have made the correlation to your safety as well. Other people too would be like, oh wow, he acting like that, and it's like, nah. So the situational awareness I did not always have as it related to your situation, and just like when people think being careful, it's like people don't understand the level of carefulness that had to be orchestrated. Yeah.
That was a time. When you think back at it, that was a time. I was tight like a ball. 24 years, like tight like a ball.
One thing is, I wanted to pivot a little bit, if you don't mind, and you kind of segue into that, speaking about being tight like a ball. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I know during that time in your life, we used to kind of speak to it, especially in therapy, as like the dark days, the dark times, and the timing. So it was actually 20 years of our life together, because you figure for the last 5 years, this year being the 5th year, you've been out of that dark spot in your life. But it was a really dark spot that I think was the catalyst of you saying enough is enough. Like, I gotta do what I need to do to resolve this. Like you said, I didn't think about the amount of time, but I did. And then with you even knowing the amount of time that you could potentially face, it got so heavy that you just said, I gotta do what I gotta do. even if it means I may potentially have to face that amount of time because you were thinking of like self-harming. Do you mind me saying that?
No.
Yeah. So it was one situation that I remember we were at our old house and my sisters had came over and we all went to like Home Depot or Lowe's together. I was teaching them how to plant flowers. This was during COVID, April 2020. Teaching them how to plant flowers outside and having a conversation. My sister was talking about she was taking her kids to Disney that year. My baby's on the porch, me and my sister's out, in the garden, we planting flowers, having a conversation, and he overhears my sister saying something about she got the tickets or like, something to that effect. And but again, she was talking about taking the kids to Disney. I don't remember exactly how he correlated that to me and thinking that. And now, mind you, let me take us a couple steps. We had always had conversations about me wanting to travel. He couldn't travel, and I felt like that was something that I needed to do in my life. I didn't want to do it without him, but I didn't think that I would have the option to do it with him. So during that phase in our life, this had been like an ongoing, not argument, but conversation that kept rearing its head.
Contentious topic.
Yeah. So during this moment of we talking about my sister taking the kids to Disney, he chilling on the porch, he kind of overhears that something about, she got the tickets, and he thought that I had went ahead and got a ticket to go somewhere and was planning on traveling somewhere. Never even realizing that he heard it. He goes in the house, we are still outside planting, flowers and stuff, and you hear a pop. And my sister, without a thought, she was like, that was a gunshot. And I'm thinking, nah, like I don't know what it was, but nah, it wasn't. You all right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after a couple seconds, just thinking like, he did get up really weird. Like he went in the house, didn't say anything, and we were on good terms. Like this was like a family grown up day. Like we was chilling, and it was just awkwardly quiet between my sisters. And I guess their minds was probably thinking, what the hell is going on? Like after they said it was a gunshot, it was just like kind of quiet. So I went in the house and I'm like calling his name. He's upstairs and I'm calling him. He's not answering. And I was afraid to go upstairs for a couple different reasons. One, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe that really was a gunshot. So now it's two, am I in danger? Or am I about to find him having done something to himself? Because he's not responding to me. Like I'm calling his name. I go up the steps. I'm standing at the top of the steps and our bedroom is down the hall. I'm calling his name, not hearing anything. He's not moving. Like he's not making any movement. He's not responding. And I am terrified. And again, I'm thinking, do I walk down here and something possibly happened to me and my sisters are outside and they have to find whatever is happening? Or do I walk in here and I find, that he's done something to himself? So again, in that moment, we were able to talk. I was so mad at you for scaring me, but then also I just was so extremely sad that it had got to that point that you had thought about harming yourself. And I know the thought in hindsight wasn't, because I was going somewhere that you thought. It was, I think, because the notion that you were in this situation had just got so heavy that you couldn't handle it. Do you want to?
Yeah. It was like, here it go again, smacking me in the face. And that was, I correlated that situation. I remember what you're talking about clearly. I correlated that situation thinking in some insecure way that you wouldn't like buy a plane ticket or something and go somewhere because you wasn't buying two, like one for me and one for you. But the notion of, hey, my sister bought this plane ticket for me, like I can't waste her money, I can go. That's what I correlated that with. So sitting on the porch, that's what I thought. And it was like, this is her way of, I guess, like this is a ask she's about to, in the future, about to ask, like, hey, I'm going to such and such with my sister or whatever. So that's what I correlated that with. And then the feeling sitting there on the porch was just like overwhelming depression of, here it goes again, smacking me in the face. Like, this is something that, you know, we talked about and we dreamed about and places we wanted to go. And here, like, that's not going to be the case. And not that I expected you to, well, I guess I did in hindsight, like, you know, if we can't go nowhere, then you can't go nowhere. That was selfish, but that's how I felt at the time. And that's what I correlated that with. But yeah, it just compounded into that, hearing a different name all those years, like that shit just wore on me to the, you know how some people say you can't run forever? Like, that's true. It's some truth to that shit. Even if you are Whitey Bulger and living a different life somewhere, like it's not that the idea you can't run forever, like they're going to catch you. Even if they don't, the mind games that it play on you, especially to how deep you're in it, will drive you insane. Like, you know who you are, and then you're growing inside. So that's you, that's yourself. But this outside thing you got, this different name you got, the way that people see you is of that all these years, not of who you feel you are inside. And that shit just wore and wore and wore on me, and compounded with my personal life, where it's like, my wife is growing. She wants to do other things. We're doing the same things. We're having these driving vacations, but we tired of driving. We always say we driving somewhere, but then we bitch when we get on the road because we don't like driving. So it's about time. Like, we done been on 16 driving vacations. Like, the plane is the next step. So it was like, and it wasn't that. It was the compound of the plane, the name, the way people saw me, the words that I had inside of me that I wanted to say, that I felt I bottled up for years, how tight I felt, like just being an introvert, not wanting to be around people because of that. All that shit just comes down on you. So it's truth. I say that to say it's truth in that you can't run forever shit, because yourself will catch up with you. And I can attest to that.
So do you feel like in that moment, because what ended up happening, he's here, he didn't shoot himself. I'm here, he didn't shoot me. He has shot a hole in the wall. Was that like, I'm trying not to get emotional, was that like a failed attempt, or was that like just like getting your shit off and like releasing some frustration?
Yeah, it wasn't a failed attempt. Like, let me just put the record clear. It wasn't a failed attempt. It was just more of frustration. I wanted to shoot like 5 times, but you know, I'm thinking about the cops gonna come and all that shit. But it was like just frustration, and in hindsight, attention seeking. Like, you know, come check on me. I'm sad right now. Like, and not thinking like the end game. You think but so far. Like, I want her to come check on me and talk to me, and I want to let her know how I'm feeling, but look how I'm going about it. Now when she comes close to me, she's mad at me for scaring her like this, which was something else that weighed heavy on my heart. Is like, I remember, I can't get emotional.
It's okay.
But I remember the moment she's talking about, when she came up the steps and was in the hallway. And it clicked to me when she was calling my name. It clicked to me that why she wasn't coming in the room. Like, it was like, damn, she's probably terrified that I'm laying in here. So that weighed heavy on my soul too, and still does. Even when you just said it, it was like, damn, I ain't think about that in a long time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you or nothing, but it was just like, damn, I remember that vividly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and again, it was halfway selfish, halfway self-protective, but actually both ways self-protective. Like, I didn't want to lose my husband, but I didn't know if he was going to hurt me, and it was neither, but it was just one of the moments where And the crazy thing is just to think like, God forbid, if either of those scenarios had occurred and it was all for a misunderstanding, something that he heard that just wasn't even true. Like the damn kids was going to Disney World. Like
that'd be one of them situations where everybody's like, "Why?" No, there's no note and everything. But everybody be like, "Why?
yeah,
Why?
like
Why?"
nobody would have ever known.
But that's a perfect example of that. But just set the record straight, it was not a failed attempt. It was just frustration. And I don't have the verbiage, and I definitely don't know how to articulate how I'm feeling right now.
In that at that moment of your life.
Hell no, I did not. We wasn't even on therapy then.
Yeah, so do you think that that is a major issue? And I know you can't speak for all men, but you're a man, so you can speak for them more than I can. Do you think that is a major issue as it relates to men's health? The inability to express themselves, the feeling misunderstood, the lack of options to release, those feelings. I know not everybody's situation is yours where, they're on the run, but they may have other things weighing on them that is just causing, like, it's almost, it makes me think about like a car being squeezed, right? Not in a slow way, and it's just slowly, and you can still recognize it as a car at first, slowly, but it gets to a point where it becomes unrecognizable. The windows and glass bust out, like, you know what I mean? It starts to implode. So it makes me feel like that pressure of the world on men is. Would you say that that's how it feels, or how would you speak to that?
Yeah, because, well, we don't feel as men and men that I talk to. Sometimes you don't feel like you don't have an option you don't have the options that you're talking about, the resources. You don't have that because you're a man, and since you were a boy, you were conditioned to keep it tight, not cry, not show emotions, just fucking deal with it. Like, that's why you're the man. So once we're conditioned that way, and we grow up that way, not crying, not showing emotion, not showing anything when you're hurt or sad or whatever, then when you get tight about something when you're grown, when the pressure of bills or having a wife or kids and work, a shitty boss, like when all that shit comes down on you, you just supposed to keep it tight and keep it moving. You're the man, you deal with it. So you don't feel like I have options to release. I definitely don't want to share this with my woman if we're not like that, because she gonna think I'm weak as hell. I definitely don't want to share it with my male friends because they gonna think I'm pussy. They're gonna be like, tighten up, deal with it. Like, give me the fucking arm like this, like, and that's not doing anything. I need a conversation. I need to vent. I need some advice. I might need to cry. And you just can't do that shit with your homies. That's not what we do as men. That's not what we do.
Why though?
Because we're not conditioned that way. We're conditioned since we were kids to keep it tight. It's
But
not till
like
now.
Still okay.
No, it's not till now. How the world is changing, that you start to understand. Hey, maybe you need to go to therapy and work on yourself. Maybe you just need to talk to somebody too. Because a lot of the times, you just need to conversate with somebody. And men haven't conversated with anybody about real problems in years. And sometimes just getting it off your chest makes you feel better. Just saying it out loud makes you feel better. Forget all the professional shit, that the tools and shit that you can get back, but just saying it out loud is like, man, that shit happened 12 years ago, and that's the first time I said that out loud to somebody. Even if they can't give you any professional stuff to do, it's like, damn, I just said it, like, it's real now. So then you can deal with it in a different way. But we're not conditioned that way. Not until now have we started to get the verbiage, the opportunity, the resources. Some men still think it's pussy. Some women still think it's pussy. But you have a leeway, some leniency to go work on yourself. The healing journey, as everybody says. So that's good because the world has changed. But men aren't conditioned that way. Even now, where you're not criticized for it, people still call you pussies. You still think people will look at you like you pussy if you emotional.
Yeah, I think that's a huge issue. Like, it makes me think about. I have a couple friends in my life. couple people that I love who are in the dating scene, right? Newly in the dating scene in their, late in their 40s or whatever. And it makes me think, somebody was saying, like, I don't even know how to do this, like how to date. And, we were talking about like questions you would ask somebody at this phase of our life. And one of the things that I was saying was like, when was the last time you cried? Like, those are, if I was a woman who was single, like, I would need to have a man who is in touch with his emotions. All that sucking it up, like, that'll be the person who pound your face in because they so angry, or again, they just don't know how to communicate, or they'll leave you or break you. I just feel like it's so necessary for a man to be safe in his vulnerability and being able to express his feelings and being able to cry if needed. That's just one of them things where it's like, at this age, we have to break that stigma as women towards men. I mean, especially men towards each other as well. But as women, we have to, if you're in a relationship or you have a male friend, you have a cousin, a brother, like, we have to be. And then I hate to, not to like put this on our shoulder like it's our fault, but if this is the person you love, we have to be a safe space, right? Because again, like you said, we can't control how y'all act amongst each other. If it's like taboo for men to cry to each other, or like, come on, bro, let me give you a hug. So as women, we gotta be that. I mean, because we expect y'all to be that for us, so it's unfair to think that we shouldn't reciprocate. We want reciprocity in all other ways. Why cut it off at their feelings? Like, I don't think that that's fair to men.
It's not fair, but y'all will still be the women that'll hold that against us. And that's the thing. Even good women hold on to your vulnerability and play it against you when it's convenient for them. And I'm not saying that to throw shots at you, but even me on my healing journey, or us on our healing journey, there was times where you were like coming at me like, yo, you way too sensitive, or you feel a way about this, or like you taking everything too personal. And it was just like, damn, maybe I am. Maybe I'm just trying to find my feelings or whatever. But I'm just I say that just to point out that you're a great woman. You're a good woman, and you're kind of other people's feelings, even mine. But even then, even being all that, it still was like, hey, you in this moment, I feel like this is a little bit too much. So just imagine a woman. Yeah, just imagine a woman who ain't got what you got, and popping off at the mouth and don't give a shit. It's like, damn, like, you gonna use that against me and throw it in my face because I cried to you in the bathroom one night, or I told you I was scared? Like, what the fuck? Like, we arguing over dinner and you bring up some shit about me being scared last year. Like, that shit ain't cool. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. So even that's why men hold on to that shit so tight. If a man is vulnerable with you, any woman, like, you need to understand that man loves you to death. The fact that he let his guard down, cried, told you he's scared, told you he worried. He might have said to you, I don't know what to do. If he said any of those things to you, he loved you, and he felt safe enough, like she said, a safe space, safe enough to say, hey, I can be vulnerable in this moment. And I trust that even this good woman won't use this to her benefit in the future, even if it's for something light, like, because that's just what people do, that's what humans do. But you got to take that vulnerability and hold on to it if you ever want him to come back and be vulnerable again. Because the first time you throw it in his face and you don't accept responsibility of what you did, you'll never be forgiven for that shit. You'll never be forgiven for it. It's like every time I say something to you, 6 months from now, that shit gonna come back out. Nah, I ain't doing that.
I think as women,
and that shit hurts.
I think as women in those moments, what we also have to learn to do is to listen, allow y'all to
listen
express.
And don't judge.
And listen and don't judge. But not only that, don't try to solve the problem, because unless it's asked for. Because again, you may just want to release and vent and figure it out. Like, you may not want us to figure. And I think sometimes we add pressure to ourselves because of, if we are a safe space and we allow you to vent, then we feel like, okay, now we got to take it on without like, no, you just have to be there. And if they ask you to help resolve, ask you to help, figure it out, then to do that. But if not, just do exactly what they need. And,
Exactly
and I've had to learn that.
Yeah.
I've had to learn
it's
and not giving my input unless, and we'll have a conversation, and you probably say it more to me than I to you, but it's like, do you want me to listen, or are you asking my opinion?
And again, that's shit you learn in therapy. That verbiage you learn, like when somebody come to you, let me tell you, and they just like on a manic, it's like, hold, like what you need from me right now? You want me to just let you vent, or do you want advice? Because then I listen differently.
Right.
If you venting, it's like, go ahead and get your shit off. I'm gonna be
right. I was like, I could just
damn, that's what they did. What the fuck? You should have did that. Yeah. But if you want some advice, then I'm listening to every fucking word you saying, and I'm trying to make the best decision for you because I love you.
Yeah.
So that's how that would go.
Yeah.
But you got to ask that question.
So last question: if right now your life is in the AMC theaters on the big screen, people sitting there eating popcorn, watching, oohing and eyeing, what would they be shouting at the screen during this scene of your life? And when I don't physically mean like today this scene, but like this, the goings-ons, this chapter of your life is on the screen right now. What are they?
Black people?
Yeah, black people.
Motherfucking right, yeah! God damn! Fuck yeah! Damn, look at my man, he's still there! God damn, look at this shit! That's what they would be saying.
Yeah.
That's what they would be saying.
3 grams with that, yeah.
The ice raids, you spoke about this earlier in California. See, this is what my wife was saying, and I knew about this, but she was really big on the 2025 thing. And this was one of the rules that they slipped into 2025 when Trump got in office, is that any type of peaceful protest that go on in this country, we can send military out. Like, fuck the cops. We can
like,
send,
since when the
military
Marines come out,
and Army and the Navies and the people in the recruiting to come out and take care of that. So in California, there's a lot of peaceful protesting against the ICE raids that are just ramping up and getting worse and worse and worse. I saw a woman the other day get a window bust and drug out the car in front of her daughter.
She stayed so calm.
Yeah, her daughter was losing her shit, and the mom just was like, in that moment, I get it, like, just be calm, I'm cool, I'm all right, and then snatching her around, putting handcuffs on her. Nice older lady, and who knows, she might be in Guatemala in 8 hours. Like, just was in a car with her daughter in the States. And now you in Guatemala, you in El Salvador, you're in fucking Honduras somewhere, and you're just like, no way to get back. You can't come back now because shit's hot. So it's like, what, I gotta sit here for a year or two? Like, I gotta make a life here and then try to get back to my kids?
Well, and the thing is, though, she may be blocked from ever trying to return. So I seen a story today, different perspective, but because of the same situation. It was a story of a lady who voluntarily deported herself. So her daughter, they drove from, I want to say they lived in California, but I'm not sure. Anyway, they drove to Mexico, through Mexico to whatever I think Juarez, whatever. They drove to like the first big major airport there. The lady lived in the U.S. for 35 years. In the video, the girl was like, my mom is the most Americanized person I know. She's a diva. Like, she's lived here, she's worked, she's paid her taxes. She was like, even when she didn't have it, she never got food stamps. Like, she's lived here and she worked, but she wanted to do this on her own terms instead of living in fear for them to show up. So she self-deported. They drove into Mexico, and then they flew like further down to wherever the airport was, closer to her city. And then she still had a 5-hour drive to like her actual town that she came from. She saw her mom, the girl's grandmom. So the lady saw her mom for the first time in 22 years.
That's crazy.
That's how long she'd been in the U.S. for 35 years. So I guess at some point she must have went and came back. 22 years. She left here. She has 2 daughters, I think 3 grandchildren, they said. And her daughters is like, the mom is 51 years old. Again, she's been here 35 years. She's 51. So she's been here since she was a teenager. They don't know when the next time they'll see their mom. I mean, they probably can go visit her and come back because they're citizens. But just think, you uprooting people. Everybody's not a criminal.
Yeah.
You're uprooting people's lives. This is like
turning shit upside down. What if her mom is all she has? Like, who the fuck does she have tonight? Like, that's crazy. And the black guy on TikTok who does all the videos, black guy.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah,
He's like the highest TikTok followers.
But he does the videos where he like puts something up
quiet.
and he stares at something and then he shows you a different way and then walks off the camera.
Because people act like they've done something that's so phenomenal.
Yeah, and then he does it real simple and be like, and just walks off. But they stopped him in Vegas or something like that, and he had to self-deport back to Senegal.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, he probably had business arrangements and all this shit, but not to be deported and have the shit on his record.
Go back.
It's like, all right, I'm going to go back. And who knows how long he has to stay. I did read that, he overstayed a visa.
Yeah.
Which they can probably say, this is why we coming, because this is a bad thing. Like,
but we're not hearing about, and I don't want to belabor this issue, because I know this is just one of the grams. We're not hearing about the Ukrainians, the Russians, the French people,
There's a list of them on there.
There's a list, but we are not hearing about the ICE raids. There are, just like there are Hispanic communities in cities, there are Russian
Polish
communities. Exactly. You have Chinatowns, Koreatowns all over. But we're not hearing about ICE raids in those places. We're hearing about the Hispanic people, and we're hearing about a small pocket of Haitians and Jamaicans. So what's like, it's
also
obvious.
The media, though. That's the media. That's not government. That's the media. Because again, there's lists of if you look at the list, there's maybe 50,000 Russians on the list, maybe Irish people. There's whites on the list. It's just the countries that they're going after, Latin and Black. The media is driving those. Those are the ones that the media is reporting on.
But we also live in the communities where we're not hearing like, just imagine if you are like, everything is on social media now. If you live in a Korean community and ICE comes through there with a raid, people are going to film that and have that on camera and post it. It may not be on the news, but it's going to make its rounds. If you live in Chinatown and you're here, when you see ICE come through and you're here legally. So that's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying.
And I think those videos would go viral, but I just think that in those on social media in the Korean community, maybe those videos are circulating, but it does make sense that video would go viral if it's ICE raiding some shit and treat people bad.
Exactly.
It wouldn't just stay in the Korean community.
And we can get off this, but I want to say this. I was in a meeting today, and I was meeting with an organization who they have a location in a primarily Hispanic community. And then they have several locations, but they have a location in a primarily Black community. And I had to ask, because when people talked about the neighborhood, I'm like, well, what's the demographic there? They was like Black. So we were talking about having a future meeting, and you know what their suggestion was?
What?
Let's have it at the location in the Black community and ask the Hispanic people if they will travel to that office, because they're afraid to come to the office in the Hispanic community, and ICE raids aren't happening in the Black community. Like, they acknowledge ICE can go anywhere they want, but they aren't going. So this way they may feel, and that's really sad that you have to be strategic. Schools, the attendance in schools. I wouldn't
chance it though. I ain't taking no fucking chance.
Well, yeah, the attendance in schools, the attendance for doctor's office visits, even the registration for like kids to go to like pre-K and kindergarten. The numbers are like dropping.
Everywhere.
People they don't want to take the chance. Because the thing is, once you get to the doctor's office, once you get to the school, you're safe inside, but it's the transportation back and forth. They can grab you anywhere. Yeah. So we just gotta pray.
I hope it gets better. I hope this shit calms down, because families are being torn apart and that shit is sad.
Well, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
I'm sure it will be. Graham too. Sierra and Jim Jones. Did you see this clip?
It was so I read the headline. It was cringy. So I didn't listen to it. I knew what she was doing, and it was just too cringy. I have to say this, and this might be unpopular opinion. I'm not a Sierra fan.
No, I'm not a Sierra fan
but
either.
Even in the sense where I don't even like her voice. It sounds so fake.
Well, I haven't heard her say anything in years. But I'm just saying, I'm not a Sierra fan at all. Like, I couldn't tell you a Sierra song at all. And I didn't used to like her. I thought she was a ripoff of Aaliyah, and I didn't like Aaliyah. But she intervened Jim Jones' interview and told him the spirit is speaking through her, and that after all these years, he should marry his girlfriend Chrissy, and she deserves it. He deserves it. And you're right. It sounds cringy as hell. And it's like, why can't people mind their business about shit and then try to couch it with the Lord or the spirit is speaking through me? Like, you can't get told mind your fucking business. They've been together for what, almost 30 years or some shit like that. I'm sure this was a conversation that they probably had before. Who knows if it was good or bad? Who knows what you're triggering when you say some shit like this? We've talked about things like this with the when you're gonna have a baby, Happy Mother's Day, all that kind of shit. Like, that shit is reserved for fucking people you know, for people that you know close to you, not strangers or people you got a general relationship with. Because you in the market saying Happy Mother's Day to somebody, that lady could have had a miscarriage 2 days ago. She could have been trying to have kids for 8 years and had 5 miscarriages and had one a night ago, and you're like, Happy Mother's Day, just because you think it's the right thing to do. That shit, you should mind your business about people's relationship. That might have triggered something in his household where it's like, me and Chrissy been arguing about this shit for 8 years and it calmed down. Now this clip's gonna go out and fucking now it's back up again.
And would you go say that to Oprah and Stedman?
Yeah, and it's only because you trying to take the Lord angle. You got a good marriage and you think it's wholesome and you think you doing it the right way. So you projecting that stuff onto him. And I'm not saying that marriage isn't the right way. I think so too. But I'm not going around breaking up interviews telling people, hey, you should get married. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know what people feel about marriage. I don't know what conversation a couple had about marriage, or how good or bad it was, or about their kids, or about their mom. Like, I leave that shit alone. It's very, very, very personal. And for somebody to go on camera and say some shit like that, it's almost like he would have been wrong if he would have said, hey, if he was, Jim Jones of Dipset, hey, mind your fucking business. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Or you speaking out of turn, then she would have been like, oh, I'm taken aback. And everybody would have been like, oh, you wrong for speaking to a woman like that.
Well, you would have been wrong to speak to a woman like that. But what he should have told her was, he should have said, where's your husband? And asked your husband, please get your wife. Like, one of the things my husband has told me is to stay out of grown men's face. Like, again, because, and I don't know what their relationship is, they're in the music industry. Maybe they're close friends or something, and, people just don't know. I don't know. But mind your business. Like, that's like somebody telling her, give Russell that 5th baby he been asking for. What if you was pregnant last month and had a miscarriage? Nobody may know that, and that may be a very sour place for you. So just like you want people to mind their business, this whole mind your own womb, like worry about your own bodies, don't worry about when, mind your own ring, sis. Leave that alone. Yeah. Like, mind your business.
I thought it was just distasteful and it was cringy, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't like to use that word because I got a dick, but it was
That's
bad.
A feminine word?
I feel like it.
Okay.
11 baby names that's banned.
Was this list real?
Yeah, you can't use these names.
You
can't name your baby, number 1, King. Can't name the baby Queen. Can't name the baby Jesus Christ. Can't name the baby Santa Claus. Can't name the baby Majesty. Definitely can't name the baby Adolf Hitler. Can't name the baby Nutella. Can't name the baby the @ sign on the computer.
Well, that I understand because it has to be an actual letter.
Can't name the baby 1069. I don't know what the correlation to that is, but 1069, I guess, means something.
I don't know.
And it's numeric.
Numbers, any non-alpha characters.
Yeah, but why didn't they say 2412?
I don't know.
I don't know what 1069 means. Also, can't name the baby 111. So I guess 3.
But again, it being letters, I get that. I mean numbers. I get that.
It was Roman numerals 3. I. Can't name the baby that.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and it didn't say 4 or 5 or 6
or
or 8, 10.
or,
It just said 3. Can't name the baby I.
That's
It
weird.
wasn't like it said you can't name the baby any Roman numerals. It just said I.
Yeah, that's very weird. I didn't think that this list was true because King, Queen, Majesty are very common name especially King. I don't know about Queen and Majesty. I won't say are as
Yeah,
common.
but how do you know that's a government name? That's like T.I.'s son is King, but we don't know that that's his government birth.
Well, I know it's a
name.
Government name because I work in a field where I see government.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I know.
And you see King a lot.
I see King. I've seen
Spanish people named King.
Not so much Spanish people. No.
You give insurance to the blacks too.
Are you serious right now? Oh, are you crazy? I've seen a sprinkle of Majesties. I can't say I've seen Queen. I won't say I've seen that one, but I would bet that there are some out there. But
Nutella?
No, I've never seen Nutella. Like that's like, come on, you might like that. I mean, that's
up there with Mercedes and Lexus.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's weird that they say you can't, and I wonder why. Because yeah, it's a brand name, but again, it's a brand name. Mercedes, Lexus, Porsche, Ford. Like I used to work with a guy. His name was Ford, but like, so I mean,
that's an old 1950s name.
But okay, I'm just saying it's a brand name. So I wonder why Nutella.
I don't know, because it's stupid.
To
Nutella.
I mean, it is, but I'm just saying.
You gonna name your baby Jam?
Peanut butter.
Hazelnut. Hazelnut.
Well, Hazel is a name,
but not hazelnut. And you can't name the baby Jam.
Why?
Because it's jam. It's jelly.
But who says you can't? Must be jam because jelly don't shake like that.
It's a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 231 coming to a close. Y'all know all them platforms that she got old shit on, so I ain't no need for me to say it. Just go to YouTube. That's the newest shit. And get at her in her Instagram. It's Tashi Love. So get at her on her Instagram and talk shit to her about that. That's it. We enjoyed bringing y'all the show. We hope y'all enjoyed the show. Oh, we went from 9 million to 10 million listeners. We have to tell y'all that. So we got 10 million listeners now. We're trying to get it to 11. Keep listening. Keep subscribing. Keep commenting. We love y'all. Yeah. If y'all fuck with us, we fuck with y'all.
And if you don't, you should.
Peace.